What's going on, everybody? This is Al from PlaybookGamer.com, and today we're starting a brand new dynasty on the channel. We're going to roll with Louisiana Monroe. Now, this is technically a coach dynasty, as you see in the overlay below. What that means is, once I'm done with Louisiana Monroe, I want to stay with this dynasty file and move on to another team. That way we can keep track of the past schools that we coach. So I want to stay in this file for as long as possible. I like the idea of trying to break some school records. So this is going to be a really long series, but at least we'll get to use a bunch of different teams along the way. But we got to start somewhere, and we're going to start in Monroe, Louisiana. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now, Louisiana Monroe has no tradition whatsoever, no history of real success. I went back and looked at some of their history. I think they won one bowl game in like 20-something years. Just dreadful. After I looked at some of their stuff, I was just thinking, hey, I think this is a perfect opportunity to try to turn them into something big. I may stay here for 3 years, for 10 years, 15. Who knows what will happen? But either way, it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, you'll notice out of the gate, we're at the coach strategy screen. You'll notice we got a couple different things. One, it says 0-0, it says safe. I bring this up because I am using the NEXT Mod. This is the latest version, 14.2, I believe. So throughout this dynasty, you're going to see a bunch of cool new things. And I'm excited to see a bunch of that stuff in action. But this is the preseason video to season 1 of the dynasty. So let's go ahead. And I wanted to show you my coach out of the gate. We're going to run the pure run and shoot offense. Now, I've ran this offense a couple of times in the past, but not the real thing. You know, I've always had to use the default playbooks that's in this game, so I've had to, finagle my way around to running this offense. But now with the playbook editor, I can get very close to the real thing. And towards the end of this video, I'm going to show you my playbook and such, and show you a couple new things that I have added. And this one's going to be a much harder version. It's simpler, but it's harder than some of the other variants of the run and shoot that I've done in the past. So my offensive type is a spread offense. We're going to roll with the 3-4 defense. They've made some adjustments to the 3-4 in this mod that I want to try out, that I'm excited to fool around with. And I just want to do something different. I've been a 4-3 guy forever, and I want to see if I can make the 3-4 defense go. And we're going to try that out. So that is the coach strategy. I wanted to point that out to you, kind of where we're at this point in terms of philosophy and such. So as you can tell, this is the 2023 season, the next mod. It's going to be really cool. The first thing I want to do is go over to preseason options, and let's look at our schedule. I've already set this up. It's a 12-game schedule. We're going to start off with Colorado State at home. Then we're going to have 2 back-to-back road trips in the SEC, at Texas A&M and at Ole Miss. I selected these two because these two teams are on Louisiana Monroe's schedule this year, so I figured we need to play both of those. And then we hit into the heart of our conference schedule. Arkansas State at Southern Miss. Coastal Carolina, it'd be really cool to play them. Then you come down here, we got Texas State. We have an open date right in the middle of the schedule. Then you got South Alabama at Appalachian State. And then I had one extra non-conference slate or spot, and we're going to go with number 23 Tulane. There weren't a lot of options here. A lot of it was FCS schools, and I wanted to pick an FBS school. I didn't really want to play any FCS teams, so we're going to go with number 23 Tulane. I think it's a neat little storyline. They're in our home state and such. Then we're going to head right back into the conference schedule with at Troy, and finish the season with our arch rival at Louisiana Lafayette. So that's a pretty good looking schedule. I'm really excited about it, and I hope you are too. Now, redshirt players. We are not going to redshirt anybody. What they've done, they have added a new redshirt system to where it's like the real thing. Pretty much, as long as you got a player that doesn't play more than 4 games and doesn't record a stat of some sort, they're going to redshirt automatically. So like this kid, for example, Blake Murphy, may never touch the field any this year. If I don't redshirt him now, I think the game will redshirt him later. I've done a little test dynasty to test some of this stuff out, and it worked just fine. So we're not going to have to redshirt anybody, which means I can go through here and just kind of play whoever I want, but I can keep track of their red shirt and how many games they played. So speaking of, let's go over to rosters. This is a good little addition to the roster screen, and that is the games played. This helps me keep track of who's played. So whenever we get into like a player like, again, Blake Murphy, that's going to have 4 games played, I got to make sure he doesn't play the rest of the way if I want him to redshirt, that kind of thing. So again, I just wanted to point that out. So while we're here, let's just look at our roster. Now, there are a lot more competitive FBS teams in this mod. There's not a bunch of C minuses rosters, especially at the G5 level. So we got some talent to work with. You know, we got a handful of dudes in the 80s, 88, 88, 82, so on and so forth. But then it drops down pretty quick. So let's just go through each position. And I'm not going to go through the depth chart. I'll just kind of show you who's going to start more or less, and we'll go from there. So we got Jaya Wright. He's going to be our starting quarterback. And mainly because he's just got the better arm. He's got some speed to him. But this is the thing about the run and shoot. My run game is going to be QB run heavy. We're going to do a lot of QB draw, QB choice, and speed options. So I need some speed here. Thankfully, 72 and 70 will get me by. That's more than enough speed for me to kind of scramble to pick up a first down if I'm feeling the heat. That type of thing. But he's going to be our starter. We got some backups behind him in Garcia and Herring and Blake Murphy. And while I'm here, I want to point out this new addition to the Dynasty. If you go over to playbookgamer.com and under YouTube, go to current series. This is a new page dedicated to this series. I'm going to have my video playlist right here, but when you come down here, I have taken images of the entire roster. You can go through here and you can see in detail what all these players can do and such in terms of their attributes and everything. So this is a neat little thing. This is going to be very helpful for me when I go back and kind of evaluate my roster each week and see if I need to make changes and such. So I will have a link in the description below every single video for this series. That way you can come down here and just kind of get an update of what the Dynasty is all about. I may add some playbook stuff here as well. I haven't really decided on that, but I just wanted to point that out. And so we got here back to the roster, back to the quarterback. So Wright's going to be our starter with some backups behind him. Halfback, you know, in this offense, they're going to be running the ball a lot more than catching the ball, but they'll still catch it a time or two. But we got a couple of decent dudes in Franklin and Woolard. They're going to probably split the duties. Then we got just backups behind them. We don't have a single fullback on the roster. We're not going to use a fullback in this particular offense. We have a ton of wide receivers, as you can see the bar right here. I think we got like a total of 10. We got one incredible ball player, Tyrone Howell. We're going to try to do as much as we can through this kid. He's a senior, so we're going to try to make the most of it. And then we got a bunch of hodgepodge average receivers, Tolbert, Wiley, Britt, Davis, Kimber, and Luke. And then it just kind of goes down and so on and so forth. A bunch of bodies, which we're going to need this for the run and shoot. And again, we're going to look at the playbook here in a little bit. But a good little group. At least we got, you know, warm bodies to play with. We'll just say who's going to start. I can pretty much already tell you Hal, Wiley, Britt, and I think Davis are going to be my top 4 just because they can catch a little bit better. They have a little bit more speed, things of that nature. Or I think Luke is going to be one of the starters as well. But again, there's just a bunch of guys that all kind of look the same. We got 4 tight ends, but we're not going to play any tight ends until we get to goal line. We're going to have like a goal line package. And this is what these guys are for. They're going to be just blockers. Again, tight ends will not be involved in our offense whatsoever. For those of you who are aware of what the run and shoot's kind of all about. Tackles, we got 2 decent ones, Lewis and Wilkins, a junior and a junior, which that's great. Both of them will be back next year, hopefully, but not much behind them. You look at a bunch of guards. Now, some of you may be wondering, why is it nothing but left guards? That was a decision by the next team, just to put everybody at left guard. That way everybody's the same thing and you can just kind of move them around. It's not a bad thing or good thing, but that's just their decision to do that. Either way, we got a couple average, just okay guards, and it just kind of gets worse after that. And center, not much here, 74 and 70. So our offensive line is kind of rough. Defense. Now, you notice in the overlay below, I have in the playbook section multiple 3-4. Again, we're going to run the 3-4, but we got to keep in mind that I'm going to use a bunch of different formations. I got to adjust to my talent along the way. But I do want to point out, when it comes to defensive ends, we got some bodies here. Not very big ones. A 3-4 defense, I need guys more like this, 6'1", 280, as opposed to 6'1", 255. But at least we got some dudes here at least to work with until I can bring in some other guys to fit the defense. Defensive tackle, we got a handful of dudes, 76, 76, 74. We need guys like this, the 320-pound dudes that are really strong. I mean, this is an ideal fit. This guy right here, he may end up starting for me. Actually, I didn't really think about that. Actually, I think I got Black starting. I probably need to do Black and then Carbajal. Let me go ahead and just do that while it's on my mind. Again, I didn't really want to go through the depth chart. It's kind of pretty much what I've been saying. But I do want to make that one change while I'm here. We could put Carbajal there and Ware at the third spot. So let's go back to defensive tackle. Again, bunch of average dudes, just like pretty much every unit on this team. Linebackers, specifically outside linebackers, we got an 80 and an 80, 80, 76. So not a bad group. Thankfully, you can interchange some of these positions a little bit easier now in this mod. Then you go to middle linebacker. This is a big weakness of ours, and we're going to try to run a 3-4, but we're not going to do a whole lot of 3-4 this season. I will be able to move over one of these outside linebackers over to middle linebacker. I think I got Goffney over as middle linebacker. You'll just see that throughout the season. But we got to add more depth here in order to run a lot more 3-4 than usual. Cornerback. Okay, dudes, we got actually a bunch of them, 82s and 80s and 78s. We can run some dime quite a bit this year. I'm going to do that when we really go up against some spread teams. Then you got free safety, an incredible dude. Our second best player on the team, Andre Mack, a junior. Hopefully he comes back next year as well. Strong safety, Louisiana Monroe is a 3-3-5 team by default. That's why you see so many strong safeties that are halfway decent. So we're going to sprinkle in some 3-3-5 as well. Maybe even some 4-2-5. Just kind of depends on what I'm feeling at the time. Kicker, terrible. Punter, terrible. We got to replace both in short order. Let's go over to, well, I can go ahead and show you. When you go back to rosters, I'm going to go back to rosters. I'm just going to quickly show you our team captains. Our defensive captain is Mac, and our offensive captain is Hal. What's cool is in the offseason, you're able to select your team captains, and those will be 2 of your 4 impact players. You're going to see that more again in the offseason, which is going to be pretty cool. But at least for now, I can pick 2 impact guys going forward. And like I said, you can have a 4th impact player in this mod, which is, again, pretty cool. Let's go to program standards. I think all the teams are kind of set like this. I can probably look and say, yeah, I think everybody's kind of set to 0. I think they just didn't want to overload this thing too much. But you still got to put up with it. I mean, you still got to discipline your players, so you kind of have to monitor that. But I wanted to point that out. Next up, we are going to go to Athlon Sports. Let's check out some things here. Preseason polls, as you would imagine, Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, Ohio State, LSU, USC, so on and so forth. If you sort this thing, we are 115th in the country. A C overall, C- on offense. I mean, we just got a lot of work to do. I mean, this is like the most downtrodden FBS team in the country. Again, they've only won 1 bowl in like 20 years. Just dreadful. Hopefully I can make things a whole lot better for them. But that just shows you kind of where we're at this point. Heisman Watch, we can check this out. Again, the new mod, really cool. There it is. Caleb Williams, Michael Penix and Bo Nix, Drake May, and the big tight end from Georgia, Brock Bowers. Pretty cool to see there. Preseason All-Americans, we can check some of this out. I'm going to quickly go through it. I know we're not going to have anybody on this list from our team. We're not going to have anybody on the second team as well. But I just wanted to point some of this out. You go to second team. Now, this is one thing. Actually, I probably don't need to show you this because they did not update this from the mod. Because you see Bowling Green quarterback, guard number 0. They just didn't update, which is not a big deal. Preseason All-American stuff doesn't matter anyways. But this was, what's his name? In the default rosters, their big quarterback back in 2005, that was him. So let's just go ahead and bypass this since none of this really makes sense. I do want to go to Conference Outlook. We are in the Sun Belt Conference, and we are dead last. Just a perfect opportunity for an incredible rebuild, and I'm really excited about it. So they got us dead last in the Sun Belt, and there are no divisions, so we're going to play a bunch of these teams over the course of the several years. I assume it's got a basic rotation to it. Toughest places to play, we can look at least the top 5 or so. I don't think they've updated this either. They haven't updated the average attendance. This is probably something simple they can change and move around. That may be something they can look into, like for the next year's mod. But Kyle Field, Neyland Stadium, so on and so forth, and we are nowhere near close to this. But what is cool is you can look at all of these and see where you're at instead of just the top 25. So we're down here somewhere. We'll go all the way down here, and there we are. They got us 102nd in the country, Malone Stadium. And this place doesn't hold much at all. And that may have been updated since then. Next up, I think it's time to recruit. So here's what we're going to do with recruiting. There's a couple of new things. They've added some new images and overlays and such. They've also added, in NC's recruiting, you can recruit like 2-star, 3-star, or 1-star players. So if you go to Like halfback, for example. You scroll down here enough, and we'll go down here, and there we go right there. Okay, so we got some 2-star kids, and I think you probably got some 1-stars as well. So you can go 1 through 5 on this, which I think is pretty neat. We may end up doing that. Now, I'm going to keep my recruiting rules simple. I'm only going to really have 1 for a G5 school. I'm really only going to recruit 3-star and below. If I'm still at Louisiana Monroe and I'm a 4-star team, I may recruit 4-star in-state kids, but that's it. So we're going to be doing 3-star and below for the foreseeable future. Okay, so what we're going to do here is let's check our pipeline states first. See, oh yeah, I need to go back out to all. Let's check out our pipelines, see where we're at. Now you got to think Louisiana. We'll probably recruit Texas, but we're also really close to Arkansas. Like, we'll go right here. I want Arkansas to be a pipeline. I'm actually going to write that down. Arkansas doesn't produce a lot of talent, but I still want to keep that in mind. Just because it's close. I'm going to try to keep it local in terms of recruiting. Florida is a pipeline. I do need to write that down. I think Georgia is a pipeline. Georgia's a pipeline for everybody, it seems. We can keep on going. You know, Louisiana's going to be a pipeline. Thankfully, Louisiana produces some talent. We'll keep on going. Mississippi is another one I definitely want as a pipeline. Monroe, Louisiana is really, it's up in the northeast of Louisiana. So we're going to be really close to Arkansas and Mississippi. So that'll be a pipeline for the rest of my stay here at Monroe. We can keep on going. That may be it. Texas may be the other one. Yes, Texas is the pipeline. We're definitely going to keep that. We're just too close to it for it not to be one. And I think that is it. So the next thing I want to look at is this right here. We have fullback. We're still required to have 1 fullback on the roster, even though we're running a spread offense. I'm not going to recruit one. We can just have a walk-on go there because I'm not going to waste points on a fullback that will never see the field. But what we do have, since my 3-4 is my default, it shows that I need some more bodies at outside linebacker and especially middle linebacker and free safety. But what I like to do in the regular season is build my defensive and offensive lines. I want to make these as best as I can, and we'll just see what we can do with that. So what we can do is let's just start off with each pipeline and work off of that. We know that we need linebackers, free safety, and offensive linemen, and I may go after quarterback. We'll just see how that goes. But the first thing I want to do is go to Louisiana. Let's recruit our home state. Quarterback, I need some speed here of some sort. He doesn't have to be great. And this is another thing I can show you over here. I updated this. If you go over to NCAA Football 06 and you go down to Dynasty mode, they have updated the 40 times in this mod. You see right here, the 40 times the next. They have lowered them. It's still the same. You're still going to have a 99 speed. It's just going to be 422 instead of 416 because not many humans run a 416 anyway, so they're trying to keep it realistic. But when it comes to, I'm going to see if I can do something like that. That's a little bit better. Once I start recruiting quarterbacks, the biggest thing I need is somebody who can run at least like a 70 overall speed. So we're looking for 4.8 or better. So that's just something we got to keep in mind. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out. So this guy is not going to be good enough. I need somebody, again, who can run like a 4.8 or better. So let's keep on going. Halfback, we got 4 guys there already. I'm not going to go after him. He's a 4-star anyways. Let's keep going. Wide receiver, we're not going to have any issues recruiting wide receivers in this dynasty. I wouldn't think we're going to throw quite a bit. So I'm going to leave that alone. Tight end we don't need. Here's what we need, some bodies. Linemen across the board. I need to find guys who are smart and who are big, especially smart for pass protection. This 3-star kid's probably good enough. I wish he was a little bit heavier, but his awareness is pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and just put a scholarship on him for now. Guard, we got a 3-star and a 1-star. No offense to the 1-stars. I'm not going to waste my time on you. But I want this guy. This guy looks okay as well. A guard. Let's go here. Center. 1-star. I'm not going to bother. No defensive ends. Here's a defensive tackle. He's a 4-star. We're going to skip that. Outside linebacker, 1-star. Middle linebacker, 4. Let's see. Free safety, strong. Some strong safeties, but as you can tell here, we got a bunch of strong safeties, and I'm going to go to the 3-4. I don't need 4 on my roster at all times, so we're going to bypass those. So not much out of Louisiana. The next one I want to go to, oh yeah, this is another cool addition. You can actually recruit kickers and punters in the regular season. We're going to have to do that because we just don't have anybody to work with. We got some terrible kickers. So let's go ahead and go after this guy. That's really neat just to actually be able to do that finally. So we're going to go after 3 guys from Louisiana. I'm going to go to Mississippi next. That's our next more important one. Let's go here. Let's just go through these. Wide receiver, 1-star kids. Tackle, a 2-star. No, a guard. Here's a 3-star 6'2". Let's just go after him. Defensive end, he's too small. Just no, not what we need. Defensive tackle. No linebackers, corner, free safety, strong safety. We don't need that. Kicker and a punter. And that's it for Mississippi. I want to go over to Arkansas. Let's look here. And there's only 4 guys. We got a 4-star. Here's a 3-star middle linebacker. I wish he was a little bit smarter, but I don't think we can be too picky in this situation. At least he's fast. Let's just go ahead and put one on him. We just need bodies there in the worst way. We don't need a tight end. Defensive tackle, yes. 2-star kid, which is I'm okay with that as long as he looks the part. And this guy does 6'5", 326 pounds. That was another addition to the mod. They upped the defensive tackle weights on some of these to make it a little more realistic. Gives you a better chance to go after some more of those nose guard types. So we're going to go ahead and put a scholarship on him. So that is it for Arkansas. That was quick. Let me look at my list. We got Arkansas, Georgia, Florida. Let's go to Texas next. I care more about Texas than Florida and Georgia. Let's go over to Texas. We'll go to Texas. Quarterback, 4.79 and a 4.88. This kid right here, I think I want to take a chance on Solomon Barrow. Normally, I'll only do quarterback recruiting in the off season, but we're going to have our quarterbacks run a lot, and they're going to get hit, which means they're going to get hurt a lot. We need bodies there, so I'm going to go ahead and take a chance on that kid. Halfback, we just don't need any at the moment. It's not important. Fullback, it's not. Wide receiver, again, I'd rather just work on our lines first. Here's some more tackles. Like, here's a 3-star kid, 6'7", 332. His awareness ain't the best, but that's okay. We're going to run as much as we are going to pass. Just kind of depends on where our talent lies. We're going to pass a little bit more this year than run, but again, that'll adjust every single season. Here's some more guards. Let me just look. I'm already going after a couple of guards. Let me see. Here are a couple of 3-star kids. 6'3", 275. This guy's much stronger. He's more of a runner, but this guy's a little probably smarter, who could probably handle the pass blocking better. Let's go after this guy instead. Normally I don't go for that, but in this case, we're going to be passing quite a bit, so let's just go after him. So that's 3 guards. Center, this is kind of important. Let's go after, let's see. Awareness is even more important at center. I think that really affects your high snaps and such. So they've got one 3-star kid. He's really small, but he's really smart. So let's just go ahead and take a chance on him. Defensive end, can we find a big dude? I'm not seeing it. Here's a 2-star kid, 6'4", 277. Let's just go ahead and go after him. Defensive tackle, are we going after one already? Can we find one that's got some size to him? 287. This kid looks more like it. He's stronger and he's heavier. Let's go after, he's 1-star though. Gosh, I don't know if I should. We already got plenty of bodies at defensive tackle, don't we? Okay, yeah, I'm just going to skip him. No offense to him, but some of these 1-star kids I just don't need to bother with. Outside linebacker, 1. I'm not going to do it. Middle linebacker, 5 and a 1. Corner, we got a ton of corners. We got 6 already. Free safety, strong safety. Since we need a free safety, I guess we can look here. I need some speed. A 4.47 looks pretty good. He's not very smart. Let's go ahead and take a chance on him, and I think that's it. I am not going to recruit Florida and Georgia. That's just too far away from me. I want to keep it kind of local. It just saves me on the points, and I want to have like a dedicated area of recruiting. So guess what? We're already down to 0 scholarships. We have our 12 guys ready to go. Now, the thing is, we don't have a bye week in week 1, so we can't simulate this week and then look at distributing our points. We will do that after our next game, which is the next video, and we can go ahead and look at that. Let's go ahead to play week. We're going to preview this game, and then we're going to look at some other things. So this is our next game. Colorado State got the same amount of talent as we do. I cannot tell you what they run schematically. We've updated all of that. I've helped them out, trying to show, which team's got different playbooks and such. And it's just going to be really fun. I'm going to have to scout and do some of those things. So I'm really looking forward to that. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go to save. I want to save this bad boy. And then we're going to back out of here. Then we're going to look at our uniforms, and we're going to look at the playbook just a little bit. Then I'm going to let you go. It's going to be really cool. I'm super excited about this. I want to see this series go on forever and ever. I like the idea of breaking some coaching records, moving on to some teams, doing rebuilds along the way. Looks like we've saved everything. We're going to exit out. Again, I think I've showed everything in the preseason video. And again, our week 1 game, we actually have one. So let's go to practice mode. We got everything set up here. Let's go over to our stadium. If I can get to it. Right here, we'll go afternoon. That's fine. We'll do this. So let's go ahead and speed this puppy up. And then we're going to talk about the playbook a little bit, which I'm overly excited about. I've been working on some things. So first of all, let's talk about the playbook. I want to, we'll just start here. So our offense is going to be pretty much the pure June Jones run and shoot, which is pretty much gun spread and gun trips with a little gun empty sprinkled in. It's kind of the same thing because we got a halfback in there to start for us. So those are the 3 formations. Everything's coming from there. And once we get down to the goal line and 4th and short type things, I want to try to use gun ace. It looks like something we would use. We're still in the shotgun. We're still like a 2x2 look, but we're going to have a couple tight ends help block for us. We'll see if that works on. If not, I'm going to maybe do some gun bunch and gun tight. Again, only for like goal line and 4th and short or 3rd and short type purposes. The rest of this playbook, I'm not even going to use. It's just stuff that's in there. And we still have goal line normal. So let's go over to gun spread. And let me show you what I've been working on. The first thing I want to talk about is this is version 7 of my master playbook file. No, I do not have this released. This is something I'm going to work on for quite a while. It'll be a couple of months before I even release anything. But I want to point out a couple of new things. First of all, the mesh play, I've added that. We're not going to use that in this playbook, but I just wanted to point that out because I know somebody's going to ask me questions on it. But this is more run and shoot. Switch, curl, flat. This is, we're going to have several of these. We're going to have like a switch concept on one side and something else on the other. We're going to have like a switch dig, switch curl flat, switch smash. This is going to be a big part of the offense. Halfback off tackle will be deep attack. This is more or less our go/choice concept. And we're also going to use smash. That's going to be a big part of the offense. QB choice a little bit. There's switch dig. It was actually just called switch before, or slot wheels, I think. But that's going to be a big staple of the offense. Halfback dive is our main run, or halfback run play. And slide. Technically called wide receiver curls, but in run and shoot, this is about as close as we can get to true slides. I'm going to just stick with basic curls. And slot seams, we're going to have some slot goes. And that's the offense, speed option as well. So there's like 10 concepts through the whole thing. So the gun spread is there. Gun trips, we're going to use some QB choice. We're going to use angle. Again, there's your little go post combo speed option. We may use a wide receiver screen. I haven't really decided on that yet, but we may end up using it. Halfback dive. PA inside, what's that? That's just switch on one side with a shallow across on the other. This may be the lone play action play we'll use. QB draw, very big in this offense. I can't wait to use it. Curls, we're going to use that. Clear out a little bit. Then we got halfback out, maybe. Double screens, probably not. QB off tackle, yes. And that is it. So again, it's got the same, just 8 to 10 concepts. And then gun empty is just more of the same thing. We may use slot outs for like 2-minute drill purposes. QB draw, definitely. Smash, yes. Cross seams, there is our slot seams. Halfback option, yes. We slot screen, yes, only because it's a wide receiver screen. Deep attack, that's our go/choice. Speed option, yes. Curl flats, which is our slide. And I think that is it. Corner, no. This may be goal line, maybe. We'll see. Switch dig, and then switch smash. So these are a couple different switch variants. That's going to be a whole lot of fun to use. And that's it. That's the offense. It's about as pure as a run and shoot as I can get, especially from a passing perspective. So think run and shoot passing game with a quarterback run game to go with it. And I think it will be a nice combination. So we can do is go, and I just want to show you a couple formations. I'm just going to select one of these newer plays that are in the playbook. And look at these new cool looking uniforms. Whoever worked on Louisiana Monroe's look, good job. I think you've done a really good job with this stuff. I think it just looks really cool. It's been forever since I've ran a Dynasty with a team that's got red and yellowish as the colors. I think it just looks really slick. So you come out here, you see this look. Now, one thing I got to do is I got to adjust these long sleeves. I got to put the team colors on those or change them up. Either way, pretty cool look. I like it. I think everything looks really slick. And I think they got a couple of alternates you're going to see throughout the Dynasty. But then you go back and look at like their away uniforms. Really cool. I think it's just a nice, slick look. You go and zoom out. You look at the stadium. Really small stadium, but it's neat nonetheless. I'm just excited. I hope you are. I think this is going to be really cool. Get to do some switch and some go and some slide. And just going to be a whole lot of fun. And I really can't wait to start doing some QB stuff, especially when I'm starting to feel the heat. We're going to do more scrambling just because we got to run for our lives in some parts. Something like this where I'm about to get killed, we can go over here and we can do a dive. The only reason why I've done that because I felt the heat coming from this area right there, so I had to run for my life, see if I could find somebody open. I couldn't. I think I had this guy open right there, but that's okay. We still picked up some yards, and we've done a QB slide. You're going to see me slide a whole bunch in this Dynasty, at least with Louisiana Monroe, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. So I hope you're excited. I am. Our next video is going to be against Colorado State. It's going to be great. Let's have some fun with it. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.